Hello and welcome to the Press Start podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Brody.
Hello.
Kieron.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
On the show today, we're going to be talking about PlayStation's upcoming showcase, Tears of the Kingdom and its crazy sales numbers, Overwatch 2's cancelled PvE content, and the latest on Grand Theft Auto 6. But first, Kieron, I'm eager to hear what you thought of LEGO 2K Drive, which you reviewed in the week.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. I definitely was poised to enjoy it from the beginning, just because it's Lego and a kart racer, and those two things are very appealing to me. But what surprised me is just how competent of an arcade racer it is. Like the driving itself on the standard tracks against other people, classic Mario Kart style racer, all of that stuff is really mechanically solid and a lot of fun, and the track designs are really cool. But then it's also got an 8 to 10 hour open world story campaign on top of that as well. So already a massive leg up on something like Mario Kart, which doesn't really have that much in the way of compelling single player content. And that's also really cool because you get to custom build your own vehicles from scratch with Lego pieces, and they transform on the fly depending on what surface you're driving on. It's got almost platformer action adventure-esque mini games and challenges that aren't just racing. Classic Lego humor, all the ridiculous puns and over the top storylines and characters and stuff. It's just beyond what I was expecting, beyond just the standard Lego fare of it's easy, it's a kid's game, whatever. It just has so much going for it. I was really pleasantly surprised. I think the only major criticism I have, which I think a lot of other reviews have kind of shared as well, is that it being a 2K game, it does lean heavily into monetization.
Sure.
Which, I think if you've ever played any of their sports titles like NBA, you probably expect that. But being a game aimed towards kids, it feels a little bit grubby, I guess. But you can kind of ignore that. It's mostly just getting extra vehicles and stuff. But yeah, if you can get around that, it's a great game.
How deep is the vehicle customization? Were you able to get away with some pretty crazy designs, make some kind of more realistic kind of cars, I suppose, if you wanted? Could you kind of build a Nissan Skyline or something of that ilk in there?
I mean, if you were creative enough with Lego, sure.
Okay.
You kind of still have to build within the realm of it's got 4 wheels. But other than that, you've got, you slowly unlock, I think it's up to 1,000, hopefully that's the correct number, up to 1,000 different Lego pieces that you can build with.
Oh, wow.
So pretty much you pick your base of sort of different sizes of car base with wheels, and then you kind of just build on top of that whatever you want.
Yeah.
All different colors and customizations and stickers and stuff you can apply as well. So yeah, if you're any good at building anything with Lego, you can probably make some pretty cool stuff in it.
And the open world aspect of it, is it fair to compare it to something like Forza Horizon or Burnout Paradise, one of my favorites, or is it a little more streamlined than that?
No, it's probably similar to Forza Horizon in a lot of ways. Much smaller in scale. It's four different maps that you can drive on, and they're all big enough, but they're not Forza Horizon sized. Probably the cool thing though being that you have all these pseudo platforming capabilities, and almost everything in the environment's made of Lego and destructible. Is you very rarely, if you want to get from point A to point B, you very rarely have to drive on the roads. You can just kind of rocket through everything. Yeah. So it's just really fun to drive around in.
And does it have a track builder, track editor sort of mechanic to it as well? Mode to it?
No, all of the tracks that are in it are built on top of roads and locations inside the actual open world itself. So it's all kind of baked in. It'd be cool if something like that did eventuate though.
Yeah. Cool. Brody, I was curious about your opinion on this, because I know you like the occasional racing game, Forza, we've spoken about before. Can you see yourself spending any time with this? Difficult to make time, I know.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. I think potentially I definitely could. It's sounding like it ticks a lot of the right boxes, obviously being accessible, being another, cool open world. It probably doesn't sound like it leans into the creative side of things quite as much as I thought it might. What can you sort of say about the, because full disclosure, I haven't had a chance to read the review and I don't actually know a lot about the game at all. does it like offer much by way of like co-op or multiplayer? And another thing I was sort of curious on, does Lego games typically, like they've got a lot of relationships with a lot of different IPs. Like, does anything like that sort of, come to fruition here?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's 2-player online co-op for like the main campaign mode. I didn't really get a chance to check that out while I was playing it because obviously it was early and not a lot of people had access to it. But that does exist, and obviously there's local and online multiplayer for like the standard kart racing side of things. In terms of IP, not much. It's all original stuff. There are a few like licensed cars in there. There's a McLaren, for example.
Cool.
But other than that, no. I feel like they're doing a season pass model. So I feel like that's probably something they're going to start introducing later on is like licensed characters and cars and stuff as part of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump in and give this one a go. Like you said, Kieran, right at the top, that like it's a nice intersection of things that I otherwise love, like Lego and arcade races. And I've kind of had a bit of a hankering to jump into a racing game recently. Maybe watching Drive to Survive has been the influence there. Whether or not that'll scratch any sort
Very
of
different
F1
discipline.
Related itch, I don't know if it will. But all the same, eager to give it a bit of a blast. It'll have to pull me away from Zelda though, and I've not quite set up the segue to talk about that later in the show yet, but we will get to it in a moment. I do want to talk now though about PlayStation's Showcase, which has been announced for next week, happening Thursday, May 25th. It'll be at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. James, I might come to you first on this one. PlayStation Showcase, it's been a little while since we've had one. Do you expect this to be a banger full of big announcements?
It depends what you want, I guess.
Well, what do you want? What would you hope
think-
to see?
What do I want? I don't know what I want. I don't know.
This
I can
is
see
your
this-
opportunity to share your predictions. This is essentially what this segment is.
I can see this being like Tsushima 2, Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
Wolverine maybe.
Yep.
Like sequels to all of those like big heavy hitter games that Sony have already put out. Which is fine for me, but coming off how I felt from their last games, it's not what I'm excited for. I would
Sure.
love to see obviously more about Silent Hill or the Room and Metal Gear Solid stuff, but obviously if that's but once again, like remakes, I don't getting a little bit tired of remakes at the same time, so it's hard.
Surely a
Yeah,
Metal
I don't know.
Gear Solid remake, like that's reportedly what Blue Point said to be working on, right? Am I remembering those rumors
I feel
correctly?
like the rumor changes like every week.
Yeah, but like I'd imagine that would be an announcement, remake or otherwise, that you could get excited about.
I would be excited. I just think like those games are so small, like compared to what we play now, and like I don't know how
Sure.
they better pull that off. I just can't. That's why I feel like it's not happening. But I don't know. It could be. It's hard to explain. But my dream is to maybe see a new Siren or something. See more of Silent Hill, obviously, like the new Silent Hill. That would probably be like what I would love to see the most. But I think that's a little bit further away. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like I'm not excited. Like I'm happy to be surprised when it all happens, but I'm not like mega excited.
Yeah.
If that
Well,
makes
it
sense.
goes without saying that I'm very excited for this. I
Yeah.
mean, like two games you mentioned, Spider-Man 2, I could take or leave. I'm on the record not being the biggest Spider-Man fan in the world. But Ghost of Tsushima, like I loved, and I'd love to see what the next or the continuation of that series is.
Or even like Last of Us Factions.
Last of Us Factions going to be the next one I mentioned. Presuming this is absolutely the time to like reveal Factions and actually go into more detail of what it is. Like we've only really been teased a bit of concept art, like a sentence or two about how the game might work, but we really don't know anything formally about it. So I'm hoping that is the big reveal here. Maybe it's kind of how they close out. But they've got an hour for this showcase, so it's a reasonable amount of time, much longer than the like 20 to 30 minutes that like a direct state of play might be. So hopefully we do see some more of those banger announcements.
Death Stranding as well.
Death Stranding, yeah.
That should be good.
It's just going to be 45 minutes of Suicide Squad.
Oh, God.
Again.
Please no. Brody, what about yourself? Have you got any hopes or expectations for the showcase next week?
No, I think James has pretty much covered off on all the things that you would expect to see. Obviously, all huge IPs, very excited to see what comes next for all of them and all that sort of stuff. I'm curious about Naughty Dog. Like, obviously, they've got factions going on, and I guess my hope would be for them to return to something like Jak and Daxter rather than, go back to The Last of Us Part 3. But I think the rumor even suggests they're working on a new IP, which apparently has been teased through parts of, the remake and all that sort of gear. So, curious to see what they're working on. And obviously, Bend, after sort of all the stuff they've gone through. Be interesting to see,
Yeah, I can't say I'm optimistic that we'll see more of any of Naughty Dog's new IP. I kind of feel like as long as Factions is still an unknown, we won't hear anything about that. I'm a little doubtful we'll see anything of Wolverine as well. Similarly, while Spider-Man 2 is still... That being said, though, we've already seen a trailer, but...
I could see them closing, with Spider-Man, but, with a good 10-minute chunk of gameplay or something like that, seeing as that's months away. But I wouldn't be surprised if they, because they're not just going to show stuff in the immediate future for an hour, because there's not much known quantity in that regard. So they're going to have to show things that are coming. So and we know about Wolverine, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a slightly more extended trailer that shows a bit of the story that's going to be in the game.
Yeah. Kieron, in my notes to quiz you guys on, I had noted down Sony Bend and Housemarque as well. Sony Bend, we've not seen anything from them since Days Gone, which is going a few years back now. Housemarque we've seen from more recently with Returnal, but again, another couple of years has passed by since that. Do you think we could see anything from either of those two?
I wouldn't be surprised if we did. I think to Brody's point, we're at a point with PlayStation where there's not that much on the immediate horizon, so this is their opportunity to start actually teasing those far future titles. I'd definitely there's a lot of their first party studios that we haven't heard much from that I think we will.
Could it be as big as 2016, where they did 5 years kind of into the future? Could we leave the showcase knowing what the next 24, 36 months might look like?
I wouldn't be surprised because, PlayStation 5s are in stock everywhere. Again, the slate's kind of clean at the moment. Now would be a good time to just go hard on everything that they've got coming. Yeah. And start teasing, some future stuff. Do
you reckon we'll find out what Cory Barlog has been working on?
True, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He's bound to have something. And they're going to have PSVR 2 stuff here too, so hopefully that extends to obviously more than just first-party stuff, and maybe they've actually got some of those big partnerships that we were sort of hoping for prior to launch with maybe Half-Life Alyx and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm really eager to see what some of those more recent acquisitions have resulted in. Even the kind of partnership with Bungie. Clearly Bungie still very much have their hands full with Destiny 2, and there was the content release recently. But that partnership, does anything more come of that in the years ahead? Or
we're going to get 1 hour of live service games.
Is it around kind of platform, not exclusivity, but bonuses, I suppose, for the releases? Because they've never kind of said that they're going to do exclusive titles with PlayStation. They're still a multi-platform developer that are publishing with PlayStation. It's going to be an interesting time. And I think, Kieran, your point, there are so many unknowns about PlayStation right now. It'll be exciting to see what they have to say.
Yeah. Also, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hopefully that shows up.
True. Oh my God. Yes.
Would they do that though before 16?
They'll probably do 16.
Yeah. Just another
another 10 minutes.
16 in Suicide Squad. That's it.
It's the kind of thing though that's here's a trailer for 16. It's out next week, and it kind of fades to black. And here's what's coming after, and you get a teaser for the next. That could be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. we'll have to wait and see. Fortunately, it's not too long to go. Next week's showcase, very excited for it. We might need to. This podcast episode's a little late. Maybe next week's has to be a little bit late as well, so we can talk about the outcome of the showcase. Moving on though, let's return to The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which has sold over 10 million copies. Much to no one's surprise, it's doing gangbusters. If you spent any time in TikTok in the last week, it's literally all I'm getting on my feed right now. James, I might come to you first on this one, actually. Seeing as you played it ahead of time for the purpose of the review, what has been your reaction now to seeing it out in the wild, everyone getting to spend time with it, seeing all of those videos circulated online? Are you getting a bit of a kick out of it?
Yes. I'm not... Yeah, it's... It was one of those things where, like, you know, you play it and... yeah, no. Like, it's one of those games where, like, as I was playing it, I was like, I'm, like, reasonably creative with this, but, like, you can just imagine what other people are going to do with it once it hits, like, you know, and people have been very creative.
Have you seen things that made you go, oh my god, like, I wish I thought to do that, or, like, why did I never do that?
A lot of people have already created, like, battle tanks that can, like, almost one-hit bosses and shit that I wish that I even... thought about, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it doesn't surprise me. I thought, you know, this is a game that almost kind of markets itself, like with how everybody's creating shit and then it goes viral, and obviously like with the Korok stuff is the stuff that I wasn't expecting.
So funny.
Like I never would have guessed that was a thing, but
in case you've not seen what we're referring to, people are like essentially torturing Koroks that they come across. Like you've got to, when you encounter Koroks in the game, like you've got to return them to its partner or like its friend, companion, and you are awarded Korok seeds, but people are just taking the opportunity to like put them on a cross and like set it alight and all sorts of horrific kind of satanic things. Yeah.
I saw someone made like a human centipede and like dragged them through a city while ringing a bell.
I've seen like Korok skewers like slow roasting over a fire.
Yeah. I wonder what Nintendo thinks about this. Like these poor little Koroks.
I'm sure they're laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they don't care, for sure. Yeah. But I think it's well deserved. I think it's nuts to think it's bigger than Pokemon, especially when Pokemon launches across 2 SKUs. This is just 1 SKU.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might have bought Pokemon twice, whereas this is like people to do those numbers with 1 SKU is pretty good, pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Kieron, did you manage to find some time to play it amidst your Lego 2K review? Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I've been trying to find time absolutely anywhere I can. Just because when I'm not playing it, I'm just thinking about playing it and thinking about the possibilities and what I should be doing or what I could be doing. So I'm kind of just mainlining what feels like the main quest line, letting the game kind of gently guide me because I don't have enough time to just like hang around and make weird shit. I think I've done like the first of, or like one of 4 kind of major temples or whatever.
Sounds like you and I are at a similar point then.
I think we might be. But yeah, it's so easy. It's also just so easy to like play that game for like 3 hours and do absolutely nothing.
Oh my god. I texted James the other night, like he's been my go-to person knowing that I can't spoil anything for him. And I was texting you at like 2 a.m, James? I was still up playing it. Which is unheard of for me, really. It's pretty late that I stay up that late playing games. Brody, what about you? It is really good. Brody, have you been able to spend much time with it? Have you shortlisted it for Game of the Year yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't even had a chance to boot it up yet. My copy came yesterday. It arrived from Amazon. Got a good deal there. So, I had to find my Switch today, and I dusted the layer of dust off it, and it's currently charging at the minute. So hopefully it boots up later, and I can give it a go.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it. Like the crafting mechanics are just so well executed. And every kind of shrine that I come across, I'm like diving into it, excited about what kind of how it's going to push me each time. They like do such a good job of like gradually encouraging you to experiment and try different things with the abilities you have. And it's interesting. You get your abilities quite quickly. They're not really delayed much at all. So I've found on occasion, I was like, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about recall, or I forgot about ascend, and like that's once you remember that's at your disposal, it's like all comes together.
The biggest challenge in the game is to remember that you have ascend.
Yeah.
Like I always forget it. I still forget that I have it.
It's given me such an appreciation for the game, though. Like I was telling James about that kind of first dungeon temple-esque sort of area that I was into, and the kind of hacky ways that I completed some of the challenges, like jamming weapons together into the gears to make things that rotate that you otherwise couldn't. But like the level of design of like even with the ascend ability, making sure levels aren't sat directly on top of each other, maybe that works to my benefit at some point. But yeah, I'm very impressed with just how meticulously designed and planned out the game all is. Eager to play more of it. And eager to see more people torturing Korax. All right, final news piece of the day that I have for you all. The PvE portions of Overwatch 2 have been cancelled. Initially planned to release alongside the game's launch, they have been, or during a live-streamed announcement, the game director Aaron Kellen and executive producer Jared Noose said that the development of the PvE experience hadn't really made the progress they'd have hoped, and that unfortunately the effort required to pull all of that together into a Blizzard quality experience that we can ship to you is huge. Some unfortunate news. Kieron, I'm wondering if you can help me out, because admittedly I haven't really touched Overwatch since the original came out. Can you recall like what exactly was intended for these PvE experiences, how they complemented the multiplayer aspect of the game?
If you're asking me to recall something, no. I just, I don't really play Overwatch, so I can't really speak to the experience. But obviously, it was one of those things that they'd introduced or said that they were introducing when they announced the second game to differentiate it from the first game.
Yeah.
And
I think they were meant to be kind of like cooperative sort of PvE experiences, obviously.
Yeah, well,
different enemies you encounter. The story missions are still in there,
correct,
which are like cooperative experiences as well, but not to the extent that the hero.
I think the hero mode would have included like its own progression and its own sort of unique mechanics and stuff that. Obviously they're still planning a co-op experience, but it's not quite the same. Not a big like poster mode like that would have been.
Yeah, Brody, do you feel for Overwatch players, seeing as this was promised and now not eventuating, or is it a bit of a non-issue given that it means that the PvP aspect of the game, I guess its bread and butter, is going to be better supported? It sounds like they're still trying to put some kind of story events into the game still, like through that continuation battle
it sounds like they're probably
sort of thing, but
sounds like they're probably aiming to recontextualize a lot of the content they were planning for PvE. Like through different channels. So I don't think it's going to be a huge loss, I guess, in that sense. And I would almost, while I'm not a fan of this game, like I would almost rather that level of transparency for them just to come out and say, look, this wasn't working, the mode wasn't coming together, we're still going to deliver some stuff for you, but it's not going to be what this is, rather than, ship something that people aren't going to like. Because they obviously already went through a pretty rocky launch that, had a few people offside anyway already. So, no, I don't think it's a bad thing that they've got on the front foot about this. I think it's pretty good for the optics of it all.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I'm trying to remember what the exact expression is now, but like, rather than release a bad game, it's better to kind of, concentrate your efforts and extend.
Michael Jordan's quote.
Anyhow, I think it makes sense, like, in terms of releasing something that is insufficient, is to actually concentrate all that efforts into the aspects of the game that they know that they can improve. I did wonder if this was a kind of mistake made around the production of the game in terms of like defining the scope of what this was all going to be, and if it just exceeded expectations as to how much work it was all going to require. I wonder if they made an error presumably a number of years ago in defining what exactly this was going to be and maybe kind of promising it too hastily.
It makes me think of like Halo Infinite in a way.
Obviously that's a question we'll never find out. How so?
Just in that, they sort of promised all this stuff through like development pipelines that they didn't really understand. Maybe now I would have thought like the people behind Overwatch would have had a better idea about all that, seeing as it's not their first rodeo. But yeah, just sort of reminds me a little bit.
I kind of hope the people behind Halo would have an idea.
But they hadn't really done live service stuff before. Like, to be fair.
Yeah.
they still
No,
haven't.
that's fair. James, what's your take on this all? Like, we tend to be more of a kind of single player or cooperative group of gamers. We don't tend to play too much of the PvP sort of stuff. Do you think Overwatch 2's player base is going to suffer potentially from this cancellation?
I actually I sunk like 60-ish hours into Overwatch. I really enjoyed it.
Into the original or two?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah.
And the group that I did that with, we played again when Overwatch 2 launched, and obviously we were like, this is the same. Like, there wasn't a lot different.
Yeah.
And but I always thought like this PvE situation that they kind of used to justify it being Overwatch 2 was a good idea, because like they had this like, you know, rich cast of characters who you could do some cool shit with story-wise by having, say, bespoke PvE missions and stuff. And there were some PvE missions they did as time-sensitive events for the original Overwatch, and they were all quite good too, but they were, you know, not that the promise to me was that stuff like that, but better.
Yeah.
What was your question though? I can't remember what you asked me.
You're answering it. You're sharing your opinion on it.
Yeah, like I don't know if just doing what they've been doing for the ages is going to be enough, but then I feel like Overwatch still has quite a loyal following, so
yeah.
Yeah, like
I guess my concern was that like the loyal following that loves the multiplayer aspect of it, they're still going to be there. I doubt you're going to lose them as a result of this mode not eventuating, but maybe there were kind of new players they could have drawn in. Like, I'd have been interested in playing a PvE experience in Overwatch, less so the PvP side of things, but yeah. Would I really have played Overwatch 2 if there was PvE added in? Yeah. It's hard.
I think there's potential, like, if you look at something like League of Legends, where Riot's kind of really diversified the gameplay experiences that you can have in that universe. There's like so many other spin-off games and other things that you can sort of get into it, and even like Arcane, like the show and stuff. Like, I feel like Overwatch has so much potential in that area, because I see them bringing out all these new cool characters. You know, I see stuff from the like all the cinematics they do. Like, if they were to bring out a single player first person shooter in that world, I'd probably play that because it looks cool. Yeah. So I feel like instead of trying to stuff everything into one game, they're probably missing out on potential to broaden it a little bit as well. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I've been meaning to watch Arcane as well. I think I watched the first episode. I need to go back to it. Again, like games, there's too much to watch on TV. It's hard to find the time. I do have a rapid fire question for you all, though. Maybe it ends up being a little long-winded of a rapid fire question. We'll see what sort of discussion it kicks off. But Take-Two's financial report includes an exciting tease for their financial year starting April 24, which people have taken as a suggestion that GTA 6 will be slated for release somewhere between April next year and March 2025. My question for you all is, do we get GTA 6 next year? James, let's kick things off with you.
What? No, maybe it's like, yes, we do.
Yes.
No.
I agree. I'm gonna say September next year. We get it.
No, I actually thought GTA 5 on Switch.
Oh.
Oh my god! I've never felt so judged.
Is that? I mean, like, the language of this, them drumming up excitement, I suppose, about the financial year kind of sounded like this was going to be a major sort of thing. Like, do you really think they'd get all that excited about GTA 5 coming to the Switch?
I'm just throwing something different out there for the sake of entertainment. It's been a tough week.
Yeah. James is battling through COVID right now, guys. He's doing very well.
He's delirious.
Yeah,
I actually thought when we were talking about Zelda, you were going to tear into me about my tweet saying that Jedi Survivor is still the better game.
Oh yeah, I was thinking. I did think about it, but it's been.
People want to see you
like
fight.
I said,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
conserve my energy to get through this week. Maybe next week.
We're going to have Game of the Year debates later. We don't need to have it today.
Absolutely.
Brody, is GTA 6 coming out next year?
No, I'm going to push it out to March of the following year just because
Okay,
of
alright.
mine and Shannon's bet. I need the time.
What was your bet? I can't remember that.
That the new
good Bioshock,
Bioshock
isn't
will
it?
come out before the new GTA.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing as we haven't heard a fucking thing about the Bioshock, I need the time. I need the buffer.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't GTA 6 though, what would it be?
Oh, it's got to be GTA 6. It's a known quantity.
Like I feel like Trilogy didn't move units, so like old games don't you know.
Yeah.
Unless it is
Doing
online.
the numbers
GTA
anymore.
Online for Switch. Streaming only.
That Bioshock release is kind of another ace up the sleeve, isn't it? That's not a saying. I'm just saying 2K have like a couple of tricks in their hat still with GTA 6 and
Tricks in their sleeves.
That was
tricks
less
up
of
their
a saying
sleeves.
than
Some rabbits. They got some rabbits in their hats. You know, they could pull them out.
Aces,
It's a
rabbits
magic
on
aces
trick.
in their boots.
I don't know. I just don't like think of 2K the same way I might like an EA or like an Activision or whatever. But like they
Yeah.
are a major publisher that released some massive games, not to be undercounted. Kieran, what about you? GTA 6 next year?
I was just gonna say yes, but now I'm gonna say that they release like a big 2.0 or like a big, next gen re-release of GTA Online next year as a base for releasing GTA 6 the following year.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they'll announce
So rather than
it at the
GTA
PlayStation Showcase next week.
Oh god. Oh wow. Okay, calm down.
Whoa.
So what you're saying is, because obviously GTA Online kind of followed the release of GTA 5. Like, the core game came out first. They kind of flipped that all around this time and do the big update to Online first, and then the story comes later?
Yeah.
How
Right.
would that work? They just changed the city entirely. Bang, new map.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
That's actually I think like that idea because then they kind of get everyone to move over to the new one.
It's a cool
Yeah.
idea. It's just
Yeah,
It's
But
bold.
then, I mean,
bold and beautiful.
I just came up with it, so hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully it eventuates.
I do wonder, though, like, how many people would actually... I feel like GTA Online has kind of replaced the excitement for, like, GTA more broadly. Like, when GTA 5 came out, everyone dove in, played the story, had fun in that sort of world. And then online kind of came around and changed a little bit, like, what people define and think of GTA as being. So I wonder if the next iteration of online comes out, how many people actually bother to play the story when that rolls around. I kind of feel like if they want people to, like, learn those systems, meet some new characters, experience a new world, like...
Do they care?
Do the
if people buy
story.
Shark Bucks.
And maybe they don't. Maybe, yeah, the money is just in the update. But also, you probably want to put it, like, you want to put a retail price to this, right? Like, you want people to go out and buy things the opening weekend. If it's an update to GTA Online, maybe that's not as meatier a sell. I'm
Sorry,
sure we're all
Kieran.
going to have... I'm sure
maybe
we're...
That's all right. I just wanted it to be different.
GTA, like a GTA 5.5. It's like an in-between game.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of had its
everything.
it's kind of
For
had its next gen
Switch.
updates though. I'm sure we'll have plenty more to say about GTA 5 or GTA 6 and 5 or 5.5, whichever GTA we're talking about now. Once we know more, maybe it's next week at the PlayStation Showcase. We'll have to find out. But now is the time for What the Wiki, the Press Start podcast game show, where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess with a round ending after someone bags themselves 2 points. Currently, the leaderboard is Brody in the lead on 13 points, Kieron just behind on 12, myself and James tied in third with 11 points apiece, Shannon on 8, and James W. with 0 points. But Kieron, you won last week, so the hosting duties are all yours today. Take it away.
All right. I very quickly random game generated these, so apologies if they are too easy.
Amazing.
Well,
No
they've been done
themes
before.
anymore. Never do a theme anymore.
No themes. No themes. So
There might
first
be a theme.
game.
It might emerge.
Maybe.
It could. We could link it together.
Crazy.
The game. Shh. The game is played from a third-person perspective. Throughout the single-player mode, players control the main character, a former NYPD detective. 9 years after the events of the second game,
Brody.
they find work as a... Brody.
Max Payne 3?
Wow.
Whoa.
You needed the bare minimum of information for that.
The confidence with which you said that as well. That was awesome. He knew. Brody
Wowee.
flying off. 14 points is now on. Kieron, all yours.
Could make it 16 if I get this point.
True. We do a water
Well, no,
bonus point if you clean sweep.
I'm changing what game I say next because this one straight away.
The amount of match fixing that goes on, ridiculous.
All right. The game is an adventure game played from a third-person view, which is subject to a set and controllable perspective. There are multiple playable characters who can die as the story continues without them. There is no game over message following a character's death. The right analog stick on the DualShock controller is used to interact with objects and observe
Brody.
one's surroundings.
Oh, shit.
Brody.
Is it Until Dawn?
No, it's not Until Dawn.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Let me know when the paragraph's
Via
over. and I can
QuickTime
come back.
events.
Okay. I wonder
That
if
was
it's-
that was a paragraph over technically. So I'll give you like a few sentences. Via QuickTime events and dialogue decisions, the story will branch out depending on which choices are made. These can be viewed in a flowchart during and immediately
Brody,
after a
James.
given chapter.
Oh,
I feel
God.
like James got in there first. Do you
Is it
not?
It had to be your call. It sounded even Stevens from my
Okay.
end. Although we'll find out what happens when I load the audio tracks into the edit, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Go back to the-
James has a 50-50 shot. I think it's one of two games. So
We're gonna go back to the replay, James.
Is it Detroit Become Human?
It is Detroit Become Human.
Oh,
Yeah, good. It's about time
Ah.
on a point.
one of three games. I was thinking Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. So
No, the flowchart was the cool.
This is
new
the
thing.
flowchart.
yeah.
I was like,
I
that's
can't
gonna give it
remember
away.
that.
Yeah,
The
true.
flowchart was stumped me, but I didn't play Detroit Become Human. So there you go.
Wow. Okay.
Well. All right, we've got an action adventure game set in an open world environment and played from a third person perspective, where the player controls a character and primarily interacts with the world of Empire City.
Brody.
The
Oh,
character's powers are
no.
used for.
Oh, no, you said powers.
Brody?
That threw me off. No, I'll abstain. I don't know Empire City. I
Yeah.
don't know the powers. You threw me. You threw me.
Oh, Ewan,
Ewan?
is this Infamous?
Yes, it is Infamous.
Let's go.
Wow, one apiece.
You could tell
The
me. You could see
oh,
me
the
like try to
decider.
fucking think about Empire City. All right.
Okay.
Huge.
All right. This game's developers drew influence from late 1990s Japanese popular culture, such as the rhythm game Parappa the Rapper and the anti-establishment themes in the film Fight Club. The environments were based on Tokyo shopping districts in Shibuya and Shinjuku, with graffiti designed by artists including Eric Hayes. It was the first game to use a cel-shaded art style, developed in response to the team's disappointment with the abundance of sci-fi and fantasy Sega games.
Ewan,
Ewan.
is this Jet Set Radio?
Yes, it is.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my God.
The come from behind win. Wowie.
Well done.
Who would have
Huge.
thought?
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for Kieran's interference, maybe that would have played out very differently.
No.
Thank you, Kieran.
Definitely not.
Cool. So that's a bit of a shake-up to the scoring then. Brody still in the lead on 14. Me just behind on 13 now. Kieran and James tied on 12. Shannon 8. James W0. Spicy. Good round with the Wiki. I love it. And with that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press
You
Start
can say it's a good
Podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us on press.au and visit the site at press.com.au. We've been joined today by James.
Yes. I'm on Twitter at Jams, ATJMZ.
Also joining us today was Brody.
Thank you. You can follow me on most things at Brody_DG.
And last but not least, hosting with the Wiki today, it was Kieron.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at hashbrown, HASH_BRAUN.
And I've been your host, Ewan Roxburgh. You can follow me on Twitter at Ewan_Roxburgh. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.